Hey, what's up everybody? Before I get started, I just want to let you know you can download these mouths for free at my Gumroad store if you don't want to watch this really long video. And I'm just going to show you how to place those in an Illustrator file and a Photoshop file. So here's my head that I made in the first video, or a head like it. This is my character. But you can see right now it's got a group. I have a group called Poptoogie, which is the name of the character. Under that is a group called Head. So in order to place these mouths as a vector, or a set of vector mouths, go ahead and go to File, and then go ahead and open up the file for the mouths, and it's under the folder called Mouths for Adobe Character Animator that you downloaded from my site, and then select the AI file, which is the Illustrator file, and go ahead and open it. And you need to open it instead of placing it, just because if you try and place it, it's going to rename the layers. So go ahead and open the mouth, click on this little icon right next to the layers, and then go to Edit, Copy. Go back to your document with your head, and then do an Edit Paste. And that's going to paste those mouths in there, and make sure the mouth group is inside the head group. So I dragged and dropped it in there. It's the top group in the head. I'll go ahead and move that into place where it should be. And I'll go to File, Save As. And I'm just going to call this mouth test. Save it on my desktop as an Illustrator file still, so hit OK. Now we're going to go over to Character Animator. And you can do the same thing. You can grab the mouths from any of these characters as well. I think they're mostly Photoshop files. But we're going to create a new project just so you can use these mouths. These are more like Simpson mouths or American Dad mouths. They're the kind that I like to use. So we'll just call this Poptoogie. So we have a blank document right now. Let's go ahead and go to File, Import, and select that mouth test Illustrator file and hit Import. And then we'll just select the puppet, drag it into the work window, and it should pop up here. And there it is. So because everything's named correctly already, head and mouth, it's already rigged to move with my head. You can see that the eyebrows are moving. My eyes are following, kind of. They're snapping. Let's turn off snapping. You'll notice if I look left and right, the eyes move with my eyes, and the mouth is already lip syncing already, so without you having to do much of anything. So let me just record something really quick. I'm going to hit record. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Oops, I should have turned off the eyes. Turn that off. And then I'm going to zoom in using this slider so you can see the visemes, or the mouth shapes, are showing up at the bottom right here. Oops, that's a little too big. And you can go ahead and correct these by scrubbing through or dragging your arrow. And if something doesn't quite match up, you can just right click and choose the mouth that you want. So it's testing. So right here I want an O mouth, so I'll just right click on that and then select O. And you can actually drag and these mouth sounds to be bigger or smaller, or just to show you really quick, if you're hovering over a mouth shape and you go to Edit and Split, it'll split that in half, so you can then adjust and add more mouth shapes. So super easy to use. Let's go into Photoshop really quick. So Photoshop, same principle. Folders or groups are a little bit different, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and import, place this picture. This is just a JPEG, a flat picture. And normally this would have layers with the eyebrows and eyes and stuff like that, but let's rasterize this picture. For the purpose of this, I'm just showing you how to place the mouse in a Photoshop file. So we're going to need two groups. We'll go ahead and make two folders. I'll click on the folders. First folder, I'll just name Poptoogie, which is my character name. You can name it whatever you want. Then the second folder will name Head. So it kind of functions just like the Illustrator file as far as groups go. There's our head. We'll drag that in there into the head folder. And the same thing with opening the mouse. Go to File and Open instead of Place or Place Linked. Open. We'll go to that folder, Mouse for Adobe Character Animator. Select the PSD file. Open that. And if it opens in its own window like this, go ahead and just drag and drop so that document disconnects and you can see both documents. Grab the mouth folder, drag and drop that onto the character. I'm going to resize it so it's the, closer to the size it really needs to be. Put it in place. There we go. And make sure the mouth folder is inside the head group folder, just like Illustrator. So we have the mouth, and then this is just our face layer. So I'll just rename that face. And then we'll save this out. Save as on our desktop. We'll say PSD mouth test. Hit OK. Go to Character Animator, and let's go ahead and delete that puppet for Illustrator, and then go ahead and import the Photoshop document. Go ahead and insert that. We'll drag that puppet on here, and this is the Photoshop document. You can see really close that it's a bitmap. And let's shrink that down. And it's exactly the same thing. I don't have the eyes or the eyebrows in separate layers, so that's why it's not moving. But you can see that the lip syncing works already. So that's how you put these mouths into your character. And just wanted to say thank you if you guys, anybody who watches the entire 45 minutes extra after this. And I'll see you guys next time. Hey, what's up everybody? This is going to be part 2 of making a character puppet in Adobe Character Animator. This is going to be me just making mouths. And just before I get started, let you know, you can download these mouths for free on my Gumroad store. And you can also import mouths from Photoshop files if you're using Photoshop, just by going into Character Animator and opening any one of these characters. I think they're all Photoshop. Maybe not, but I think they're all Photoshop. And then just importing them into your Photoshop file. But since I'm doing everything in Illustrator, it's going to be vectors, so I'm going to create them myself. So, just to refresh your memory, if you've watched the first video, I showed you how to create a head. And here are all the parts. It's in layers. I have a group called head. And then I have the right eyebrow, left eyebrow, nose. The eyes are separated by pupil and eyeball. And these are all named correctly. So when I open them in Character Animator, the Character Animator file is reading that Illustrator file. So you can see right now it's following my head and my eyebrow movements. And the eye gaze I have set to mouse touch, so I can click and drag the eyes, but I can also set it to camera. And then if I reset the pose, I think it'll look at the camera. Okay, now if I move my eyes around, it should be following them. I can't really see, but I think they're moving. But, so we have the head rigged already. So now what we need to do is make the mouths. And if we go under the rig menu in Character Animator, if I have my character selected, my Illustrator file, and then over here on the right, you'll see the tags menu. If I open that up, you'll see all the tags that we can put on our puppet and all of the mouths that Adobe Character Animator will recognize. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Shift Command 4 on my Mac. I'm just taking a screenshot just so I can take a picture of all the mouths that we're going to need. Then I'm going to go back into my Illustrator file, and I'm going to go to File, Paste, or Place, and just grab that screenshot and place it in my Illustrator file, just so I know which mouths I need to make. Let me shorten this layers palette. So we're just using this as a reference, so I'm going to go ahead and lock it. And that you can go under Object, Lock, and then Selection. And that's the shortcut is Command 2. So I'll do that. And we don't need our head to move or anything like that, so we'll do the same thing, but this time I'll use the shortcut, which is Command 2. And you'll notice right here, this is my keyboard capture. If you guys don't know what buttons I'm pressing, you can just look right here and see what I'm doing. So we need to make this set of mouths. There's 3, 6, 9, 10, 14 mouths that we can create, or should create, so the program automatically recognizes it. So I'm going to collapse the layers for a second, and since nothing can be grabbed, everything's locked, we can go ahead and start drawing our mouths. So if you're new to Illustrator, I am going to use the pen tool, and that's the third tool down right here. You can do P on your keyboard to do the shortcut. But I'm also going to use all of the sub tools. So there's the anchor point tool and delete anchor point. And to do that, we can just hover over the pen tool, left click, hold it down, and then hover over the right side of this bar. And what that's going to do is it's just going to pop out the pen tool and all of its sub tool parts. So we have the pen tool, add points, delete points, and the anchor point tool. And Inkscribe is an add-on that you probably won't have. So we're going to go ahead and start with the pen tool. Now the pen tool works by clicking and dragging points. So if I have a line here, so this is going to be our outline color right here, and this is going to be our fill color. And we'll just turn the fill color off for now, because we're just going to draw a line. Neutral, smile. My character is a little bit different, so it's not going to look exactly like these mouths. I'm going to make it more of a Simpsons slash Family Guy type mouths. So the first one, if you see me zooming in and out, I'm holding Option and using my mouse wheel to zoom in and out. You can also use the magnifying tool. Just click on that, left click and drag. But I use shortcuts a lot, so if you see me zooming in like that, that's my mouse wheel and command. And then if you see me panning, which is moving the window around, I'm holding the spacebar down, then just grabbing, left clicking and dragging to move it. And then if I need to zoom back out to everything so it fits the canvas, I'll do a Command 0, and it just fits all of the canvas we're working on. So I just wanted to tell you guys that in case you're like, how do I move in and out? Because that's pretty important when you're doing artwork. So enough babbling. Let's go to make the neutral mouth. So I'll select the pen tool. Again, the shortcut is P. And I'm going to zoom in here. And I'm just going to click on one point, and then I'll click and drag. And that's going to create what's called Bezier handles. It's these little handles next to the point right there. And I'll click and drag. And then I'll click here. And now I want to create a new line with the pen. So I'm going to hold Command down and just click anywhere on the canvas. This changes your tool from a pen tool to a direct selection tool. And I don't want to select anything, so I'll just click there and it deselects it. And then I'll go ahead and draw the bottom lip. So I'll click here. I'll click and drag, creating those handles. And then I'll click here and then hold Command again to stop the pen tool from making another segment, and then it deselects. So the other tools that we're going to use quite a bit are the first two tools. The first one is Selection, and that selects anything in an object. So if I click on any of these lines, it's going to select the entire line. And then the Direct Selection tool is a little bit different. It selects individual points. So if I click on this point and grab it, it's going to move that. If I left click and drag over a couple of points, it'll grab both of those, and I can move those at the same time. So just keep that in mind when you're using the Selection tool and the Direct Selection tool. Those are the only differences. And then also with the Direct Selection tool, you'll notice if I click on a point that has those handles, let me zoom in, I can grab the handles and manipulate those as well. And you can do individual, you can manipulate segments by themselves by holding Option down Or I'm sorry, Command. Or is it Option? Nope, it's Option or Alt. I'm not sure what that is on the PC, but you'll notice that it'll only move this section. So if you mess something up, a lot of times I will move a section and I don't like that because the point is not smooth. You can just select that point and then use the curve tool, or convert, what is it? Convert selected anchor points to smooth. So it just smooths that out like that. So if you ever have those little, you know, mishaps, it's pretty easy to fix. So here is our first mouth. Use the direct selection tool, and I'm just putting it on top of my head so it looks about the right size, okay? So now I'm going to use the selection tool, and I'm just going to grab both of those. So I'm going to left click and drag over both of them, and then I'm going to group them. So I'll go to Object, Group, shortcut key is Command G. But we'll just, the first few times I'll just do the actual menu. And let's move the pen tool a little bit. So there's our very first mouth, and the M mouth is the next one, and it's virtually identical. It's a little bit shorter. I don't know why they have two mouths that are that. I mean, a lot of these are kind of duplicated. So what we're gonna do is hold down Option, and you'll notice my cursor turns into two arrows, a black arrow and a white arrow. That means it's ready to duplicate. So if I hold that Option button down, left click and drag, it just duplicates that. So there's our M mouth. I'll go ahead and hit A, which again is the direct selection tool, meaning we can select individual points. And I'll zoom in. I'm just moving it just a little bit. I have it selected. I can use my arrow keys to kind of nudge them forward, up or down, and make it a little bit different, but those are basically the same mouths. So we'll just leave it like that. Now the next mouth is S. So I'm gonna use the selection tool, and I want the upper lip to look exactly the same, so we're gonna duplicate this as well. I'll hold Option down and click on this M mouth. I'm gonna go ahead and just left click and drag it over here so we can kind of see it on the head. And I'm gonna zoom in. And when something is grouped, we can actually go into the group by double clicking on it. Everything else gets grayed out, and now it's in sections again. So the top lip and the bottom lip are separate. Now the next mouth that we're making is the S mouth. So what we want to do is add some teeth. So I'm just gonna click on this bottom lip, and I'm gonna open the mouth up. And with it still selected, I'm gonna select the pen tool. And you'll see if I hover over one of the anchor points, it turns into this little dash. That just means it's going to continue on from this line. So I'll click on it. Then I will make another anchor point here. I'll click here at the corner of the mouth kind of and pull the Bezier handles out. And then click here. And now that line's all connected as one. Then I'll hit Command. Click on the canvas so it deselects it. And then I'm just going to draw some teeth, or the edge of the teeth. So I'll start here on the top lip. I'm going to left click and drag so it curves in a little bit. And then when you do that and have Bezier handles already, you'll notice that the line's trying to curve itself. I don't want it to curve this way, so I'm going to click on that anchor point so it gets rid of the Bezier handle on the left side. And then click here and bend it that way. Just so we get, you know, the top and bottom teeth. And then I'll do the hold Command, click on the canvas so it deselects, and then we'll do one more line to separate the teeth, like that. Hold Command down and click on the canvas. So now we have the mouth, but we need to fill that with color. So what we're going to do is use the selection tool. I'll left click and drag over the entire thing, and then we're going to use the live paint bucket tool. So this is the 9th tool down. It's also, the shortcut is K on your keyboard. And you'll notice when I hover over my group, it turns red. the line turns red, that means that it is available to put color into it. And you'll see these little squares right above the paint bucket tool, and what those are the swatches, which are the colors that Illustrator just loads automatically. And I'll open up the swatches here. These are the colors that are automatically loaded when you open Illustrator, and you'll notice if I hit my arrow keys left or right, it's actually cycling through those swatches that I can choose. If you don't see your swatches, they're under the window panel, and then go to swatches down here and you'll open those up. And I'm just going to drag them over into the menu again, pop them back in there. So what we want to do is go to white, so we'll have white in that center square. We'll click here and click here, and those are in a group now. And I'll use the selection tool, and I'll double click back into our main window. So now we're back into the main canvas. So if I click on that, that's all one group. We have the S shape. D is almost the same. Again, that's a little bit shorter, so we'll just hold Option down and left click and drag, put it in place. And I'm actually just going to hit A, which is the direct selection tool again. And I'm just going to grab these endpoints on the mouth and then just move them in a little bit and up. Because again, they pretty much are the same. S and D from this snapshot anyway, or screenshot. So now the next mouth that we need to make is the E mouth. And that's just the teeth are still there, but there's a little gap in between them. So let's go ahead and let's use our selection tool. Let's move this out of the way. This is our D mouth. I'll hold Option down to duplicate. Put this down here. And we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to go inside this group, so we'll double click it. And now we know that we're inside of it because everything else is faded out. And I'm going to hit A and select these lines. I'm just going to delete the teeth, or actually, yeah, just the bottom, because what we can do is to open the mouth up a little bit, we'll hit A, direct selection tool, left click and drag over the bottom lip. Make sure that you get this point and all the points over here, and then we can just grab them and move them down a little more, like that. And I'm going to, this point doesn't have Bezier handles, so we'll use the Convert Anchor Point tool. And I'll click on it and drag it a little bit, and it'll make handles for us. So we can actually move that, like that. Why did it make the line thinner? That's weird. I don't know why it did that. Here, I'm gonna leave it alone and grab this point and open that up a little bit. Okay, and I'll click on the canvas so it deselects everything. We'll do the same thing that we did before. I'll use Pen tool. I'm gonna draw the bottom teeth, so I'll start on the bottom lip. I'll click here, drag it out a little bit so there's a little curve to the bottom teeth. Go over to the corner of the mouth, click there, hold Command down, click on the canvas so it deselects. And then we're going to have black in between the teeth, so the mouth is open a little bit. I'll click there and there. Hold Command down, click on the canvas to deselect everything. We'll use the selection tool. Left click and drag over everything. Now we'll group it. Object, Group. Oh, you know what? It's already in part of a group because we did the paint bucket. So the paint bucket's making it think that this is a live thing. So we're gonna actually go to Object and Expand and break this apart. So I'm gonna deselect the stroke because I don't want the stroke to change into a shape. And I'll hit OK. Then I'll go to, I think that should be good. Wait, let me see. Paint bucket tool. Let me select everything. Make sure this paint bucket tool, yeah, it turns red, or the lines turn red. So it's able to be filled. And let's use my right arrow keys. We'll do white for the bottom teeth. We'll go over one, and that's black, and we'll fill that in. And then we'll use the selection tool and just double click on the canvas to go back out And now we have that mouth, the E mouth. Let me kind of move these up a little bit. So we got the E mouth. The ah mouth is a little bit more open, and the teeth on the bottom aren't showing, and the tongue is. So let's go ahead and duplicate that. Hold Option down. Drag that into place. This is going to be our ah mouth. Double click so we'll go into the group. And then I think I can just change this color here. Let's go ahead and select everything. Paint bucket. And I'm just going to use red. I just want to see if it'll change the color. Yep. But actually, let's double click the red and change it to pink. And then put that there. And then I'm going to hit A, which is the direct selection tool, and I'm going to make this tongue. See if I can just move this over. Now, because it's using the paint bucket, it broke apart the black on the inside of the mouth because it's live, meaning that it has to readjust to any points that aren't connecting. So since those points aren't connecting, that's why the black went away. So we're gonna have to redo that. The mouth is a little bit more open, and I have the direct selection tools selected. So I'm gonna hold Shift down. Well, actually, I'm gonna grab all the points on the tongue. I'll hold Shift down so I can grab some more points, and it's gonna keep the tongue selected as well. And then I'll click on any of those points that are selected and just pull it down so it's open even more, like that. And the reason I'm using I'm duplicating the mouth so much is because it's just going to keep them looking more uniform. So I have the direct selection tool. I'm just going to move this point here. I'll go ahead and grab this line and connect it to the bottom lip. And then I'll use the selection tool, select everything. And then I'll go ahead and fill the mouth in with black. Selection tool, and double click back into our main window or canvas. So there we have the ah mouth. The mouth is almost exactly the same. It's a little bit more closed. I'm just going to move this off the head for a second. Hold Option, copy it. And like I said, it's just a little bit more closed. So this is going to be easy. We'll double click into the group. Hit A, the direct selection tool. I'll grab the tongue and all the bottom parts of the lips, and you can see that they're selected because they're solid blue vector point or anchor points. Oops, I missed the top of the tongue. So hold Shift down, get that one selected, and then we'll just drag it up a little bit. And that one's done. So we'll use the selection tool, double click, go back out, and we have the UH mouth. Now the O mouth is going to be a little bit different. It's way smaller. It's not as wide. So these next three mouths are going to be a little bit different. So we'll just go ahead and redraw. So, yeah, if you're drawing a forward-facing character and the mouths are like this, then you would just draw a circle. But I have lips on the top and bottom, so I'm going to use the pen tool. Come in here. Actually, you know what? Let's use the top lip of one of these. So let's go to our very first mouth and double click it. I'll click on the top lip. I'll go to Edit, Copy. Double click back into our main window, Canvas, and then do a Edit and Paste. So we have this mouth to start off with. Just so the upper lip is the exact same size. And then I'm gonna hit A so I can grab this point here, and I'm just gonna curve it over right here. Let's click on the pen tool, hover over that last point so it connects to it, and we can continue to draw with it. And then I'll go here, left click and drag, and then this will be the bottom lip, like that. And then I'll hold Command down, click on the canvas, then hit A so we can manipulate the points a little bit. Oops, don't want to do all that. Let's move that down. Maybe move this point over. Grabbing these Bezier handles to kind of smooth it out. Let's grab this point and let's use that smooth tool and just click on that so it's nice and round. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And we still want that O shape though, so they show a little bit of tongue at the bottom, but let's go ahead and add another line. I'll click on the canvas, then click on the pen tool, and we're not going to make it a circle. We're going to kind of do this and then curve it like that. And it's still going to look like an O shape, kind of. So hold Option down, click on the canvas. Or wait, Command for that one to release it. And then we're going to fill it just like we did the other one. Even though we're not in the group. Or let's group this first. Object, group, paint bucket. Let's go over to black. Fill it. And then I'll use the pen tool again. Let me hold Command down. It's nothing selected. And then I want that same pink. So let's use an eyedropper tool, which the shortcut is I. It's this button right here. And we're just going to click on the tongue just so we get that color. Actually, let's go ahead and do that again. I don't know why it's not. We got the fill, but let's double click on the stroke. Select black. There we go. And use the pen tool to just draw a little tongue at the bottom. So I'll click here, click here, click here. And that looks good. Hit A so I can move the points around. Like that. That's good enough, I think. Let's select everything with the selection tool. Grab all of them. Object, group. Put that there. R is pretty much the same, except there's some teeth showing. There's actually teeth showing in the O one, but I think it looks better with no teeth, just a little bit of the tongue. So I'm gonna hold Option down, copy the O mouth, and we're just gonna add some teeth. Let's go ahead and hit A, grab everything on the bottom, and click on any of the points that are selected and move it up a little bit. And click off the canvas. I'm just going to click on this right here as the default fill of white and stroke of black, because that's what our teeth are. Go to the pen tool. I'll draw just a couple points for the teeth showing. Let's click on that convert anchor points and then curve this out. Some of these points out a little bit. Hit A. Move this in. And move the tongue down a little bit. Or back. Again, you can always come back and readjust your artwork at any time, even if you've got your puppet fully rigged and all that kind of stuff. Like that. Let's go ahead and make sure everything's grouped. So I'll select everything, object, group, put that there. What do we got next? Now we got the WO, so that's really small, kind of ooh mouth that we would use. So let's go ahead and copy the O mouth, since it doesn't have teeth. Go ahead and copy that, holding Option down and dragging it over. And I'm going to double click so I'm into the group. I'll select the tongue and just delete that. And then we'll just make this mouth a little bit smaller. So I'll hit A, grab the points, move the lips closer together, grab this point, make that pretty small, grab the Bezier handles, and kind of bring everything in like that. Also, when you have the anchor point tool, you'll notice if I hover over a line, it turns into this little bent line with 2 handles at the top and bottom. That means you can actually grab the line itself. So you can grab the line, or you can grab the handles and kind of manipulate the line. That looks good. We'll go to the selection tool, double click on the canvas, zoom back out. So we've got the WO mouth. And you'll notice I haven't been naming any of these. I just rather make all of them first and then name them afterwards. It's just easier for me to do. I think some people would say name them as you go, but you know, I have them organized still from top to bottom and they're grouped correctly, so that shouldn't be a problem. Let's move all these. So now what do we have? Oh, the F mouth. F or V usually is what this mouth is for. We're going to let's copy the D mouth, because you can see the teeth a little bit, but then the teeth kind of bite on the bottom lip. So we'll go ahead and grab this, put this in place. Again, we're copying so we get the same, the upper lip always looks the same. And let's double click so we're in the group. I'm going to select this line and delete it. So we have just the top teeth. I think we did that for the ah mouth, I believe. And let's go ahead and just move some of these points. So we can see the top teeth. And then we're going to move. Let's do direct selection. Move everything up so the bottom lip's touching the bottom of the teeth. I'll hit A. And I'll move this over just a little bit. And then to make it look like he's biting his lip, kind of, we'll just add some lines. So let me move this point up. I'm gonna change the corner of the mouth shape a little bit. Move this over. Use our anchor point tool so we can get some handles here. Why is it deleting the... I don't understand why it's doing that. It must have something to do with the paint bucket tool. I'm going to try something really quick. Select everything. And I know I did this before, but let's go ahead and expand this. Leave the strokes alone, so I'll uncheck it. And then make that fill an actual shape. Like that. So if I hit A, you'll notice that the mouth color is by itself now. It's a shape by itself. So maybe now, when I use the anchor point tool, yeah, I think that's what it was. It just the live paint bucket does something to the fill, so you can't move the lines. So I'm just adjusting this. Man, what is this extra little doodad? Let me delete that. Oh, I broke apart the line. That's what it was. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna leave it like that because you know, you guys are probably like, man, this is so long already. Let me just get that. Okay. Pen tool. Let's just make a couple lines here. Hold Command down. Select the canvas so nothing's selected. Now I'm just gonna click and draw some straight lines. Oops. Maybe it would help if I had a stroke or an outline color. And just click here, click here. Why is this not? There we go. And hold Command down. Draw some straight lines. I think 2 should do. We'll use the convert anchor point tool and then just hover over the line, and remember you can just curve the line by clicking and dragging it, hitting A, direct selection tool, and I'm just going to move some of these points, curve those out a little bit. That just makes it look like you're biting the bottom lip somewhat, like that. And this is probably a lot longer than it would take to draw the mouths in Photoshop. You could just use a, pencil or a paintbrush and just make them. But again, I like making my stuff vector because I can scale it to any size. Use selection tool, go back out. Make sure we grab everything and group it. Where is it? Oh, it's already grouped, I think. Let me do a Command G real quick, just in case. So I got that. Yeah, but like I said, I just like vector artwork. It's just really, really clean, and I can scale it to any size. So, yeah. Okay, L mouth. Basically the same as or ah, but the tongue is actually touching the bottom of the teeth. So we're just going to grab the mouth, the UH mouth, hold Option, copy that, pull it over, and I'll double click into the group. I'll hit A, grab the points. I'll just make the tongue touch the roof of the mouth or teeth, like that. Maybe I'm just going to grab the bottom points of the mouth and then move them up just a little bit, so it's a little different. And what's this? There we go. And that's that. Double click out. So we've got the L mouth. And we have smile and surprised. Left. It's getting cramped. So the smile, let's just go ahead and copy one of these mouths, the S or the D, and then just curve the edges up. So we'll grab this, hold the Option, put it in place. I'm going to double click, hit A, and grab the end points of the mouths. We'll move them up, and then move some of these points so it looks more like a smile. Oops. Convert anchor points. Let's make that a smile. Oh, that kind of made it disappear. I think we're having the same problem because it's a live, the live paint bucket tool. So let's go ahead and select everything. Object, expand, take off stroke because we want the stroke to remain the same, and then the fill will become separated. Click it like that. There we go. Now I will use this tool, anchor point tool, and curve that, and that looks more like a smile. I'm going to select the white fill. Here we go. That's good enough. I'll hit V or selection tool, double click out, so we got the smile. And then surprise is pretty much the same as the mouth, but we'll just make it a little bit more crazy. I'll hold the Option down, copy it, put it in place. Let's go ahead and do that same thing and just go ahead and expand. Take stroke off. So the colors are all by themselves. If I hit A, the direct selection tool not only will select points, but also shapes. So if I hover over a shape and pull it, it'll actually select it. So you guys can see that all these colors are now separated because I expanded it. So go like this, hit A. I'm just going to make his mouth open a little bit more like he's screaming. And use the anchor point tool, curve this out, curve this one a little bit too, and maybe this one even. Hit A, oops, move that down. Let's do this point again, like that. Then I'm just gonna move some of these points where the tongue and stuff is. Make it look like he's screaming. Oops. And with this selected, actually I can use the pencil tool, which is the, what, 5th one down? With that shape selected, if I select the pencil tool and then kind of draw over it, but I have to make sure I'm touching the line at the beginning and ending of where I'm drawing, it's going to reshape that shape. See that? So I can do the same thing again. I'll hit A, select the black of the mouth, use my pencil tool. I'll hover over the line somewhere and then draw where I want it to go. And make sure it's touching the line again when I'm done. And it reshapes it like that. And there we go. I'll hit V, click on the canvas. We'll select everything. And then we're going to group it. Object, group. Oh, it is a group. Let's just make sure though. I'm going to Command G it anyway. Alright, so we have all of our mouths. We have the neutral, M, S, D. Let's make them a little bit smaller. I'll grab everything. Let's align them to the left. Just to make sure we have them all. Let me put them there. S, D, E, A, O, R, W, O, F, L, smile, and surprise. Okay, so now let's make sure that they're all named correctly. So I'm going to close the pen tool, close this, and let's open up our groups. So here's our head group that's locked and the screen capture. Let's go ahead and select the group, and we know this is neutral, and it's really easy to see which group you've selected over here because there's going to be a double circle on the group that you've selected. So we'll double click on that, we'll rename it, and make sure you're naming it correctly. So this is neutral. And it's important to name it correctly so the program understands which mouths to use. That's neutral. We'll select the next one, and that is the M mouth. So we'll double click it, capital M, hit return. Select the next mouth. That's S. Double click, S. This one is D, capital D. This one is E, and I'll double click that one, capital E, lowercase e, return. You notice that wasn't quite in the right place. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna put these in the correct order too as I'm going. So we'll go neutral at the top, then M, then S, left clicking and dragging, then D, then E, and we got the ah mouth. So capital A, lowercase a, return, put that in place under the E, the mouth. Right here, so UH, move that, and then O mouth, capital OH, move that, R mouth, R, it's in the right place already. This one is the W dash capital O lowercase o. That's in the correct place. The F mouth, double click that, F, move that into place. And then the L mouth, double click that, L. And then we have the smile. Smile. And the surprise mouth. All right, so we got all of those, and they're all in the correct order. So what we're going to do is group all of the mouths together. Actually, let's line them up first. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to align the tops. The reason I'm aligning the tops is I want the top lips to all be in the same place. So we've aligned the tops, and now we're going to align them to the right. So this button right here. So you'll notice that top lip is lined up for all the mouths. And I know it looks jumbled because they're all on top of each other, but that's the way it's supposed to look. So we'll grab those, go to Object and Group, and we're going to name this group Mouth. Okay, like that. And let's unlock the head, and we're going to drag that mouth group into the head. And then let's make sure we put it in the right place. Right out there. And then we'll save. And let's go ahead and get rid of this reference picture. I unlocked it, so now I can delete it. So now we just have the head right there. And the mouths are inside of the head group. Let's go into Character Animator and see what's going on. So now it's updating. And you can see our heads there as well. Oh, it's recognizing that that picture's still there. Let's go back into Illustrator. Why is it showing that still? Let's save it again. Go back to Character Animator. There it goes. Got rid of that picture. So now we have the mouths there. And it looks really crazy, but let's go into record and see what it looks like. Oh, there it is. So because we've named everything correctly already, the mouths are already put into a swap set and are ready to lip sync automatically. If they're not named correctly, you'll see all of those mouths on top of each other still. But as you can see, as I'm talking, it's actually lip syncing right now. So that's how you make mouths in Illustrator. If you guys want to see how to make them in Photoshop or any other program, you can use anything, Krita, Inkscape, McPaint, whatever you want. But that's it for this tutorial, and I think the next one I will show you how I make the body of the puppet, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.